So hey, I decided I'm going to do something a little different today, guys. I'm going to actually start a series of reviews on the Weiss game. Specifically, I'm going to be looking at each deck set individually and grading it and how I feel it works, how interesting it is, and how powerful it is. So, in order to start us off, we have to look at the very first set that came out in English. And keep in mind, I'm only doing English cards, because I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what the vast majority of them do. Plus, I don't own many Japanese cards at all. So, starting off, we're talking about this, the Weiss set 0, which is Disgaea. I call it 0 because it's kind of a sorta set. The story goes like this. This deck came out way back in 2009. It was kind of Bushy Road testing the waters in the States to see if there was any possible way that this game would be adopted. Because of that, only a single trial deck came out for it and no booster packs. These cards right now can't be used in tournament play because the wording on them is subtly different than the finalized wording for the game that we know today. Not saying that you'll actually want to use them in a tournament, but just saying on that. These cards are also on the rare side now. Finding a complete deck unopened could run between 50 and 60 bucks now. They're getting kind of pricey. However, is it worth it? Well, let's start off by looking at the level 0s. First up is Angel Trainee Flying, which really is a pretty terrible card for the deck, all things told. It's only a 500 attack power. Its best ability is its bond with Supreme Overlord Laurel, your level 3, and they put 4 copies of this in the deck, so you're kinda stuck with it. It's unfortunate because this is the card that you're going to want to toss to your clock the most because you will never ever want to play it. A little more helpful is Laurel and Flan right next to it. It's a vanilla 3000, but at least it has some beating power to it. Next up is Weiss, the Dark Adonis / mid-boss. This guy runs into the same problem that Angel Trainee Flan does, but at least he has an assist effect, so you can pop him in the back row and power up your guys. He also doesn't actually die, so if you use him to suicide, he'll just go back to your deck instead of the waiting room. It's not a terrible card for an assister, but you only get 2 of him in the deck. I swear I would have wanted like at least 4 of him compared to Flan. Moving on, we have another vanilla beater in Etna, the Overlord Assassin. A 3000 vanilla beater. There's not much to complain about on this except that there's not enough cards with any real power here. Not Etna's fault. Next is Super Robot Thursday. And god does this card suck. Okay, so the idea is he can boost up Gordon, which is literally the only card in the deck that utilizes him. And he can boost up all Gordons by 500 because he's the only card that meets the criteria. Again, he also has a expensive card drawing ability on him, which you'll rarely take use of. So overall, he's pretty terrible, and again, would have been better to have more Weiss in the deck compared to him. Next is Elite Red Mage. Elite Red Mage isn't terrible, actually. She has an ability where you can spend a stock and kill a level 0 or lower card when it comes out. And she actually has a decently powerful 2500 body. Honestly, this is one of the workhorses of the deck, especially at level 0. Don't have anything bad to say about you, Elite Red Mage. Overlord Laurel and his vassal Etna is an okay card. It has a beneficial but highly situational effect of basically putting a card from your waiting room into your stock. Helpful, but you can only do it if your opponent has no climax cards in the waiting room. The other problem, of course, is the fact that it's only one copy in the deck, and that's not very helpful considering I would take more of this compared to more Angel Trainee Flans. Seriously, that card needs to go. Next up is Petty Thief, and by God is this one of the workhorses of this deck. The effect is pretty simple. Pay 2 stock. Select one of your opponent's character cards. They lose 1500 power. Then Petty Thief gains 1500 power. That allows him to easily take 5500s at level 0. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Plus you can use it multiple times in one turn. Considering the plethora of stock you usually have when you're running this deck, this guy can usually take out a level 1 or even 2 sometimes. Definitely a card that you want to rely on. Now we're at level 1, and again we start with something pretty terrible. Prince Lahorl of the Netherworld has a defensive ability where you can switch the top card of your deck, but he's only a 3000 body at level 1. However, his bond effect is potentially useful, where you can return Etna and Flan from your graveyard, your waiting room to your hand. Not worth running full of him, but he can get you out of a pinch occasionally because Etna and Flan happen to actually be good. They are your sole backup card in this deck. And basically, you just toss them from your hand, pay nothing, and get a 1500 boost. There's nothing spectacular, mind you, but considering you can recur the crap out of it, it's pretty much the only thing that's going to get you through at level 1. Because you don't really have any beating power. These are your 2 vanilla beers at level 1. They're both 6000 1/1s. If you know anything about the game, 6000 1/1 is a terrible deal. Almost every strategy in every color in every set has a 1/1 7000 vanilla beater. Meaning that these 2 are laughably underpowered. Worse, Samurai Legend literally has no synergy with anything else in the deck, and Captain Gordon has synergy with a terrible card. So, yeah. At level 1, you're kinda screwed unless you're popping Etna and Flans all the time. But let's see if it can improve at level 2. Flan the Love Maniac isn't actually a terrible 2/1. Sure, it has a 6500 body, but its effect immediately raises its attack by another 1000, making it a 7500. Plus, it has a decent climax combo that once you have Even a Demon Needs Love, one of the 2 climax cards in the deck, so you're likely to find one, you can give another character a 3000 boost. That doesn't suck! So, okay, Flan the Love Maniac, you're not terrible. Even better, she can boost the character that is right next to her. And the other level 2/1 character you have, which is Seraph Lamington. He's just a vanilla 8500, which again is a little underpowered for, a vanilla card, but hey, the fact that he gets Flan boost makes him a little more useful than the rest of the deck. Then next to him is another vanilla beer. This one's a 2/2 9000. Which isn't a terribly great deal, but considering how laughably weak most of the cards in this deck are, you'll still be relying on Demon Girl Etna, the ultimate beauty. By the way, really? So moving on, we have the quote-unquote promo card, which is Raspberry and Sapphire or whatever. All ready for gym. Its effect is pretty terrible. It has an encore effect, but only a situational one. And it's a 2/2 8500. Nothing to write home about. Next we have... a shoe in the way. We have Mecha Jennifer. Now this isn't a character card. In fact, this is the only event card in the deck, but it's pretty simple. You play it and you deal direct damage to your opponent's deck equal to the number of climax cards you have in your waiting room. Not terrible, but your opponent can climax out of it, so it's usually not worth the 3 stock. And finally, we have our ultimate character, the 3/2 Supreme Overlord Lahorl. And as far as 3-2s go, he is not terrible. In fact, in the Japanese meta, this guy got himself banned. Problem is, he has no support here, and you can't do anything even remotely broken with him. So usually you're just going to be pushing him out as your 10,000, and that's basically all he has going for him. You're never going to use his sack effect because there's nothing that's ever going to be in your waiting room that's worth it. So unfortunately, Supreme Overlord the Hall, despite being one of the best cards in the deck, still does not unlock anywhere near its true power. Now finally, we had to address the Climax cards. The first one is the King of the Earth, and it's not terribly good. First of all, its trigger is 2 soul, and it's pretty bad for a Climax card, and its ability is it gives all of your characters 2 additional soul. So, yeah, considering that's your only red card, you got the worst possible combination of abilities there. But let's see what the other one is. Ah, it's Even a Demon Needs Love. It's a 1000 power 1 soul boost, and it has the ability that whenever you trigger it, you're getting additional stock. If the deck was more stock, centric, I could see that being a really good effect, but sadly this deck is not. In fact, it's pretty weak, and you'll often have so much stock you have no idea what to do with it, so that's assuming you come even close to winning. Overall, this is easily the weakest trial deck ever to see print in the English language so far. It has a serious lack of powerful characters, from level freaking 0 all the way up to level 2. And that's a problem when you can get more powerful cards with better effects in pretty much every other set. I don't know if the Disgaea booster pack cards were going to be any better, but this deck standalone, while decent for teaching beginners the game, considering how freaking rare it is, and also the fact that most of the cards from this have different wording, so it's not great to teach beginners the game. And, well, this is definitely not worth the money if you're planning on playing with it. Of course, if you're a huge Disgaea fan, then you'll be wondering, why the heck aren't there any printing cards in this thing? Seriously, if you wanted peon characters, take out 4 flans, put in some freaking printies! Like, and that's the sad thing. I'm actually a flan fan, and I hate the flan cards in this set. This deck, just, So yeah, Weiss review started with this, saying it's not terrible. And by not terrible, I mean this deck is absolutely terrible, but the review was not terrible, I hope. So anyway, let me know if you like this, let me know if you want to see more. Next up would be Madoka, so, thanks for watching.